It's just that I've lost so many times, I'm kind of numb to it now. All the profits I've made in 8 years of trading stocks and almost half of my principal are gone. I kind of want to die. Can you tell everyone what was going on at the time? That year with the Trump tariffs, I remember the whole market kept dropping for about 2 months. Most people, unless you stayed out of the market most of the time, I don't think you could have avoided it. It's usually really hard to escape something like that. What was your position like at the time? At first, I was half in because in my eyes, Nvidia had the best fundamentals of any company. So whenever there was a pullback, it was basically a chance to buy the dip. So as the price kept dropping, I kept buying all the way down. And by the time it hit $96, I had used up all my ammo. But, you know, when a big macro event like that hits, it just doesn't make any sense at all. You know perfectly well that this company has great earnings and makes a lot of money, but the stock price just keeps falling. So at the time, it just felt really powerless. Didn't you ever think about cutting your losses a little? Actually, I thought about it more than once because you never know when the drop is going to end. But maybe I'm just the kind of person who, once I've made up my mind about something, it's really hard for me to change it. Back then, I asked myself, because did the fundamentals change? Did the fundamentals of the US stock market change? I don't think so, so I chose to hold on. Were you anxious? If I said I wasn't, that would definitely be a lie, because when Nvidia was at $97, I had already used up all my ammo. But in reality, Nvidia kept dropping even further after that. That was a very real and tangible sense of powerlessness, because there was nothing more you could do. You just had to sit there and watch it keep going down. So in just a month or two, you suddenly realize that everything you once had is slipping away fast. That feeling, how should I put it? It's not pain. It's more like suffocation, because it's as if your whole body's still there, but the air has been sucked out and you can't breathe. But even though I didn't get crushed by losses at the bottom and didn't grill and leave the market, I truly understood that if Nvidia hadn't bounced back at 94 or 83 back then, but instead it dropped to 50 or even lower, I probably wouldn't have made it through either. So I really know that surviving it was just pure luck. I still remember when DeepSeek came out, Nvidia's stock price dropped from 147 to 120 over a single weekend. At that time, not only was I heavily invested in Nvidia shares, but I also had a big position in Nvidia calls. Anyone who trades options knows what the scariest thing about options is, right? It's the devastating impact of sudden price swings, especially when expiration is near and there's a sudden crash. If the stock price drops 5%, your call option could lose 50% of its value just like that. If the stock price drops 10%, your call is basically worthless. So that night, I just stared at the stock price plunging during after-hours trading. And with options, you can't do anything during after-hours trading because the exchanges are closed, so there's no way to cut your losses. My mind just went completely blank because if you wait until the market opens in the morning to react, it's already too late. So there was really no chance to recover or fix it. That night, I just turned off the lights and sat in front of my computer, listening. The fan of my computer was buzzing nonstop. I just didn't have the courage to open my broker's app and check my balance. I couldn't even imagine what the next day would be like. My heart was pounding in my throat, and then suddenly I just felt completely crushed. I might never be able to play this game again in my life because it's not just about losing money. It's even more of a devastating blow to my self-confidence. Yeah, so I'm really curious. How did you manage to stick with it? I'm a really stubborn person. And when I believe in something, I can be absolutely convinced about it. So if I just gave up like that, I would feel really unwilling to accept it. Yeah, and you know, the worst emotions people have often hit in just a split second. A lot of people think, If I just ended it all like this, maybe it would be a kind of relief. Honestly, that thought has crossed my mind before. But the reality is, if I just walked away like that, before everything is really settled and the dust is cleared, that would definitely be irresponsible to both myself and my family. So you could say that the reason I held on wasn't because I'm so strong. Maybe it's just that, in my weakest moment, I felt like I still had a bit of fight left in me. Are there any lessons or experiences you can share with the audience? First of all, we need to learn to respect the market. Because no matter how solid your logic is about a particular stock, you still can't beat a shift in the market trend. Right. And then we should understand that options are a double-edged sword. You really have to be aware of this, because in a world of high volatility and high risk, going all in on options is basically dancing on the edge of a knife. I mentioned a method on my show before called the mortal cultivation method, which means you should only use 3% of your portfolio for options trading. You should never go all in on options. If you see me going all in with my real trades, that's only because I have just 4,000 as my principal. So you absolutely shouldn't risk your entire fortune or your life on a bet. Right, and also you have to learn to accept failure and cut your losses in time. Sometimes admitting that you were wrong actually takes more courage than stubbornly holding on. And sometimes it's actually this willingness to admit you're wrong that helps you preserve your capital for future battles. Like the saying goes, as long as the green hills remain, there will always be wood to burn. That's the idea here. Now, the last point might not apply to everyone, but if you think your understanding is deep enough, you can take this as a reference. Right, you shouldn't always cut your losses because the market isn't always right. Sometimes the market makes mistakes. If you're convinced that you're right and the market is wrong, like when I heavily invested in Nvidia during the tariff period, you should ask yourself, has anything fundamentally changed? If the fundamentals haven't changed and it's just the market mispricing things, then you should stick to your investment principles. Okay, is there anything else you'd like to say to the audience? If you happen to be going through a particularly difficult time in your life right now, please remember this one thing. The market never stops for anyone. But you have a choice. You don't have to let that moment defeat you. Falling down isn't shameful. Giving up is. As long as you don't hit that give up button, you'll always have another chance. So, keep going.